gave chocolate laced with strychnine to the wife of Dr. Beard. She was in love with Dr. Beard and thought that getting rid of the wife, she would have him all for herself. She pleaded insanity and spent her life in Portmore. All of these murders were committed using poisons from plants. The ricin comes from the castor oil plant. Hyoscine, in this case, came from henbane. And the strychnine comes from the South American plant tree, Strychnos notonica. And of course, plant poisons have been known about and exploited forever, really. Used to tip the arrows, the poison arrows. But still today, there are plants that are used very much for sinister purposes. In India, there's a tree, which was Cerbera tree, which is known locally as a suicide tree. But it's also been used very commonly to get rid of young Indian wives that don't come up to scratch. So what is a poison? Well, it has been said that there is no such thing as a poison, only the wrong dose. Or, to put it another way, a poison in a small dose is a medicine, and a medicine in a large dose is a poison. But if you read any plant books, anything encouraging you to sort of forage in the wild, there's always a cautionary note at the bottom of a lot of common plants. Blackberries, often at the bottom it'll say, be careful, don't pick after the end of September, or after Michaelmas is often put. And as a child I was always told not to pick blackberries then, because the witches had peed on them. Which is quite a sure way of making children not eat blackberries after that. It's not very appetising. But actually, a fungus grows on the blackberries after this time, which can give you tummy upset. The same with elderberries. Often, if you look in a plant book saying about elderberries, it'll say, don't eat, or be careful how you use. Don't you can make a jelly out of them, but don't make a jam. You don't want to eat the seed. It contains very small amounts of cyanide. And rhubarb, you shouldn't cook rhubarb in a copper pan because it absorbs too much copper. So there are certain things which over the years we have got to learn and got to know about. But a lot of those things, they're quite minor poisons. The worst probably that you'd get is a bad dose of diarrhea and vomiting, as the body's way of saying that it doesn't want this, so getting it out as quickly as possible. And they're not the kind of poisons that I want to focus on tonight. I want to focus on the deadly ones. The ones that have a profound effect, a physiological effect on the nervous system, on the heart, on the vital organs. Now, I think before we can really talk about some of the plants that have an effect on the nervous system, it's important to understand a little bit how the nervous system works. Of course, it's very complicated, and I'm not a neurologist, so we'll keep it simple. So the voluntary muscles, so that you can walk and run and play the piano and do fine work, the ones that we have voluntary control over. And then there's the autonomic nervous system, which is further divided into the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. And the sympathetic nervous system, these are the ones that we don't have voluntary control over. And so these ones, the sympathetic nervous system is very much for if you're facing danger, or if you're running, or there's that kind of exertion. So it diverts energy and blood to the heart, to the muscles, the dilated pupils, all of these sorts of things. And then there's the parasympathetic nervous system, which acts to sort of calm everything down. So these two are always trying to sort of balance each other out. Now, the brain triggers something that it wants to happen. And then the impulses get carried along the nerves.
The pretty pictures, isn't it?
Not supposed to be seeing them yet. I don't know why this is doing. There's special chemical receptors which get the message across to the muscles. And in the voluntary muscles, this little chemical receptor is called nicotinic because it is triggered by nicotine. And in the autonomic nervous system ones, it's called muscarinic because it's triggered by the Amanita muscara, the fly agaric mushroom. Now, the nicotinic ones are blocked by curare. And curare is I'm sure you've heard of curare, the South American resinous substance which was used commonly to tip the poison arrows. It was the main poison arrow in South America. And it was said that it could kill a large mammal in 20 minutes. And what it does is it blocks the chemical receptor, so there's no message can get across from the end of the nerve to the muscles. So the muscles just go floppy. There's a sort of flaccid paralysis of the muscles, nothing's getting across. And so of course it makes an excellent arrow tip poison. But man is always inventive and put to good use. The active part of curare, the D-tubocurare, is used for anaesthetic. It's a smooth muscle relaxant for anaesthesia. Also, any convulsive state where the muscles have gone into a spasm, the curare, the tubocurare, acts to relax it. Black widow spider poisoning, where the muscles, especially in the abdomen, become really, really tight and really rigid. It's a fantastic antidote. Now, of course, if you're in a warring tribe and you've got arrows firing at you with curare, you need to find an antidote. And the best one they found was the calabar bean from the Phytostigma tree. And of course, always inventive, they have found that the symptoms of an illness called myasthenia gravis, which the symptoms of this disease are the same pretty much as the poisoning of curare. And so this tree, the calabar bean, the Phytostigma, has been used for myasthenia to prevent this sort of floppy muscle problem.